What's up to you all, Mindsetters? It is Abram. Of course, it is a lovely Monday. Guys, it is the beginning of our winter school. It's starting today up until the 4th of July, just for you, Matrix. And today we are doing math literacy. It is winter school revision. Peter, how are you, sir?
Hi there, folk. Welcome. It's great to be here again. Today it is winter school, so we don't have our normal time slot of Thursday evening. We got a time slot today at 4 o'clock, and then we got another time slot on Wednesday, I believe, at 4 o'clock. So, great to be in your living room. I trust that you are using this week very carefully. Okay, like I said to my guys earlier on, you should be waking up every morning around about 5:45 so that you can start your studying at 6 o'clock. That means, folk, by 10 o'clock in the morning, when your buddies are only waking up, you have already done 4 hours of work. Now, that's impressive, okay? That means if you do another 1 hour in the afternoon and another 1 hour in the evening, you would have covered 6 hours in total for the day. But the important thing, I believe anyway, okay, is waking up first thing in the morning. And in that way, you are almost guaranteed to get as close as possible to 111%. 111, what is that? I mean 100%, not 111. Why would I say 111? That's weird.
Yeah, you wanted to say 101, eh?
Maybe, okay. But it requires some good, hard, solid work.
Awesome. Are you feeling cold since it's winter school?
You know what, I'm not feeling cold at all, because in the studio they've put extra lights in here for some reason.
Burning.
And hopefully our, what do you call those people at the back there, producers and managers and bosses, put some aircon in here for us so we can breathe a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like taking my jacket off. But let me just tell the Mindsetters what they need to do to join us, to feel the heat with us. I believe it's going to be a fun hit because it's math literacy. Guys, go to facebook.com/learnextra. Like our page, share the page with all your friends, because this is no time to just play games now. If you've got all your friends that you chat with on other social networks, get them to like our page and let's be on one platform and let's help one another. Hashtag work together. Well, on the Facebook page, we have links that are posted. We've got a competition that we're running. I'll be telling you more about that competition because we have a winner for today already. So as you guys are going to be entering today, your name might be picked up for tomorrow. Are you ready for the competition, Pierre?
I'm ready for the competition.
This is what is happening. Since we all know it's the World Cup, this is the season, and we've got teams that are playing tonight. So we had this competition whereby all you need to do is to register with Curio and then fill in the form that we have. Got a mini form that's there with teams. So you select one of your teams, your favorite teams. Like today, Algeria is playing with Nigeria, Germany, and
that other team.
And France.
That's right.
And France. So you need to choose your team and then go to Facebook. Tell your friends to like their picture with Germany or France or Algeria or your team. And then after, we might pick you if that picture has the most likes. So that's how it works. We have a winner from last show that we had throughout the whole day. So the closing date, the closing time, it's tomorrow at 3:30. So we've got a winner. Should I announce the winner now?
I think let's do it, eh?
Okay, our winner for today is Neo Lukele. Neo Lukele, you are a winner. So for you guys, this is your opportunity. Start now. Go to Facebook and get all the details on how you can enter for the competition. Remember, you can also follow us on Twitter at LearnExtra. Peter, back to you.
You know, I'm a little bit worried about today's show because you're getting a little bit tongue-tied. I'm talking about 111% instead of 100%. The show can only get better.
It's the hit.
It's going to get better because now we're going to start focusing on a bit of maths lit. But today we're going to look at some questions from the DBE 2013 paper, as well as the exemplar paper that went out to all government schools. And we've just selected a few questions. And our main emphasis today is going to be on finance. Okay, so we're going to add one and all kinds of weird and wonderful things. Finance is what it's about. So let's go straight to the question because time is already against us. Here we go. Rodney is a public servant who owns 2 vehicles with engine capacities of 1,5 litres and 2,3 litres. The government has 2 vehicle subsidy schemes for distances traveled while on official duty. Scheme A, the vehicles are subsidized and maintained by the government. Employees are reimbursed or paid back per kilometer traveled for petrol costs only. Scheme B, the vehicles are owned and paid for by the employee, who also has to maintain that vehicle. The employees are reimbursed per kilometer traveled at a higher rate than that of Scheme A to cover petrol and maintenance costs. And then we get given a little definition of what subsidized means. Subsidized vehicles are proportionally paid for by both the employee and the employer. Rodney has to submit a travel claim each month, and the following table shows the claim tariffs for 2012. Sure, that was a lot of information to somehow take and stuff into our heads, all right? So what I'm going to do is basically summarize the question. This is a good thing you should be doing in your exam. Read the question and summarize it to yourself to make sure you've understood it totally. So Rodney has two vehicles. He's got a 2.3 and a 1.5 liter car, okay? The other thing is this, he works for a company that has two schemes. Scheme number one says this: we will give you petrol. Okay, so we own the car, we will maintain it, okay, so we'll fix it up and everything. All you got to do is put the petrol in, and we'll pay for that petrol. Scheme B is the following. They say, listen, what we're going to do is this. We are not going to have anything to do with your vehicle. You'll buy it, you'll maintain it, and what we'll do as a company is we'll reimburse you. So we'll give you a certain amount of money. And that money will not only cover your petrol, but it will also cover all the maintenance. It'll also take into account that there's certain expenses that you have. For example, every few kilometers I travel, the tire is starting to wear off, or the rubber is wearing off on the tire. Eventually those tires are going to have to be replaced. That has to be taken into account as well. Okay, so you guys out there who have buddies, okay, and it's always good to have a buddy, hey, someone you can share everything with, trust that person no matter what, have 100% faith in them. It's really cool to have a buddy like that, right? But when they say to you, hey, you got a car, why don't you give me a lift down to here or to there? And you might turn around and say, sure, no problem, I'll give you a lift, absolute pleasure, but you got to share the petrol. Well, actually, there's more they've got to share. They've also got to take into account that you're paying for the tires, that you're paying insurance every month, that the more kilometers you travel, your car depreciates in value. Okay? So there's a whole big confusing kind of calculation that goes into reimbursing someone for actually traveling. Okay. This question is a little bit easier because they're just giving us a few figures. Let's have a look. Engine capacity, right? So claim tariffs in cents per engine. What they're actually saying is this, that if you have a car, a small little car, right? I have a small little car. It's like a bumping car, you know, one of those things you see in a...
Is it like those two doors one?
Yeah, it's kind of scary. Eh? You
They're
sneeze and the
very
car
small
moves a
ones.
lane or two. Okay. So if you have a small little car with a small engine capacity and you decide to use Scheme A, right? In other words, the company's only going to pay your petrol. They're going to pay you 77.9. 77.9 what? Let's have a look. Cents. Okay? So every kilometer I travel, the company's giving me 77.9 cents. Take note, the bigger my engine, the more money they're going to give me. And obviously that's for a reason. Okay? So if I've got a little car, I'm not going to use that much petrol. But if I got a huge vehicle, okay, and it's got a huge engine, that engine requires more fuel to work. So the greater the engine size, the more petrol I'm going to use, and therefore the company has to pay me more for every kilometer I travel. Now, Scheme B, remember Scheme B takes into account the fact that they're not only paying me my petrol, but they're also paying me for maintenance and tires and all my other kind of expenses. And so they're going to pay me a lot more. So if my little car was used in the company and we use Scheme B, the company would pay me 236.2 cents for every kilometer I traveled. If I had a big car, okay, like our producer James, right? He's got a huge thing because he gets a lot more money than we do. In fact, we don't get money. He just gets it all. So what he would do, the company would pay him 660.8 cents for every kilometer he traveled. Are we understanding that? Okay. It's not very complicated. Let's have a look at our first question. It says here, write down a formula that can be used to calculate the amount that can be claimed for a 2.3 liter vehicle using Scheme B. In the form, the amount claimed in rands equals. Now, I want us to look at this in rands. But that's a kind of problem that I see straight away, because they're saying, how much are you claiming in rands? But the question or the table is using cents. So let's have a look. First of all, we're dealing with a 2.3 engine. 2.3 engine is going to fill in this area over here. So this is where we're looking. Okay. And we're using Scheme B. So Scheme B is 467 cents. So I know the amount claimed is 467 cents. Oops, that's gone all wrong. I don't know why this does this on the odd occasion. There we go. Okay, so 467 cents times the number of kilometers I do. And obviously, if I leave my question like that, I'm going to get it wrong. Why am I going to get it wrong? Because the question says, hey, give it to me in rands. And that's what we're going to do. So it's going to be rands 4.67. So 4 rand 67 for every kilometer I do. I'm not going to keep repeating this, but I feel I've just got to say this right now. Remember, there are 3 questions you ask yourself at the end of every question. Question number 1, have I answered the question correctly? Number 2, does my answer make sense? And number 3, have I rounded correctly? Okay, 1, then a 1, 1, then a 1, 1, 1. Okay, so point 1, have I answered the question? Point 1, 1, does my answer make sense? And point 1, 1, 1, have I rounded correctly? Okay, so that's the first question done. Fantastic, easy. Let's go on to the next one. Rodney, using Scheme B, claimed an amount of 9,430 rand for traveling 1,960 kilometers, using his 2.3 liter vehicle while performing official duties for the month of November 2012. Verify, showing all calculations, whether Rodney claimed the correct amount or not. Okay. So we're not even going to worry about how much he claimed. We are going to tackle that question and try and find the answer. Then we're going to compare our answer to the answer they give us and see if it kind of makes sense. So let's have a look. First of all, he's traveling 1,960 kilometers. He's using his 2.3 engine and 2.3 engine, we said over here, and he's got a claim 4 rand 67 per kilometer. So times that now by 4 rand 67 equals, and out comes our calculator, right? And we're going to say 1960, in other words 1,960 kilometers multiplied by 4 rand 67 equals, and my answer amounts to 9,153 rand 20. Will you remember that? Yep. 9,153 and 53 rand and 20 cents. Eh? Okay.
Correct.
So that's how much he claimed. Now, folks, we haven't answered the question. Remember those three things. So have I answered the question? The question says, verify showing all calculations whether Rodney claimed the correct amount. Now, did he claim the correct amount? No, he didn't. He claimed 9,430 rand. And he should never have claimed that. In fact, he should have only have claimed 9,153 rand and 20 cents. Okay. So I've got to conclude by saying, no, he has not claimed the correct amount. He claimed too much. You can never trust a Rodney, can you?
No,
okay.
no.
I've got a brother called Rodney, and I know you can never trust a brother.
Oh, so he's the question behind.
Well, what can I say? Hey? It's like a Devon. You can't trust a Devon either. I don't know why there's those two names that are weird.
Those names.
All right, let's move on. Next question. Rodney needs to determine whether it is better for him to use his 1.5 litre or 2.3 litre vehicle. He travels approximately 1,960 kilometers per month while performing his official duties. The comparison of the monthly maintenance and the petrol cost per kilometer is summarized in the table below. Okay, and there they give us a summary, and we're going to calculate Rodney's total monthly cost, including petrol and maintenance, if he uses his 1.5 litre vehicle. That sounds like a mouthful, hey?
Yeah.
We'll summarize it, I think, after this break.
That only makes sense. Well, Mindsetters, during this break, remember you can still enter for the competition. All the details on how to enter on facebook.com/LearnExtra. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back, guys. Now, I didn't tell you this, but for this Winter School World Cup competition, you're standing a chance of winning an awesome Intel tablet. So if you are one of those matriculants who are looking to own one of the coolest gadgets, which is a tablet, so this is your opportunity. Make sure that you go on the link that is provided on Facebook, register with Curio, fill in your answer by choosing your team. We've got 4 teams that are playing tomorrow. So let me give you those teams, Peter, and just give you a chance to choose, and I'll also choose after you.
Okay.
We've got USA that is playing. We've got Belgium, we've got Switzerland, and we have, what's the last team?
Well, it doesn't matter because my team is Switzerland. I tell you what, I've been so impressed.
Argentina.
I've been so impressed with Switzerland. It's just been unbelievable. I know they're the underdogs, but you know what? I think I support underdogs. Hey,
I'm going to go for Argentina. So all of you Argentina fans, go to Curio, register, and then go to Facebook and like our Argentina picture, and then share the picture also. I'll try and also share. Kidding, I won't share. Guys, you must share the picture. Team Argentina, Team Switzerland.
Switzerland.
We'll see who's the winner.
Okay. Now that the soccer's over, let's get on with the Maths Lit, shall we? So we're looking at a bit of finance, and the whole idea on this first part is looking at different tables and getting the correct figures that I need for different tables. Let's have a look at this. So Rodney needs to determine whether it's better for him to use his car. Okay, 1.5 or the 2.3 litre. Let's just have a look at this. It says here, calculate Rodney's total monthly cost, including petrol and maintenance, if he uses his 1.5 litre vehicle. Now, folks, remember, this is the scheme where the company says we will give you money per kilometer, bearing in mind that that money's got to cover your petrol, it's got to cover your all your maintenance costs. And so Rodney's now got to say, well, is this really going to be worth it, or is it not worth it? Okay, but we're only taking one part of the question because time's really against us, and I want to go on to a tax question next. So what we're going to do is look at this. Look at this table. Rodney's driving his 1.5 litre, and there's certain costs involved with that 1.5 litre. Now, the next thing I want you to do you remember that previous table? It said, they gave us figures, and they said these figures are in cents. Now they're giving us another table, and they're saying, oi, these figures are in rand, so we don't want to get mixed up, okay? So maintenance in rand. And what does that maintenance include? It includes service, it includes your tires, it includes insurance, and it includes a warranty. Okay, so if Rodney goes out and he gets all these different maintenance aspects individually, what will it cost him? Well, let's have a look. It's going to cost him 450 Rand plus 125 Rand plus 500 Rand plus 200 Rand. And during the break, I already wrote all those up. So let's find out what our answer is going to be. We are going to say we've got 450 Rand plus 125 Rand plus 500 Rand plus 200 Rand. And we get an answer of 1,275. So that's 1,275 Rand. But then he's still got petrol. And he works out that according to his little 1.5 engine vehicle, every liter of, or every kilometer is going to cost him 1 Rand, 1 cent, and a little bit more. So it's R, standing for Rand, 1 Rand, comma, 013 cents. Okay, that's how accurate he has been in calculating how much it's going to cost him on petrol per kilometer. So now, we've got all this figure. Let's take out our calculator and let's work out what the petrol's going to cost. So we said 1 Rand and 1.3 cents times 1,960. Why? Because it said he traveled on average 1,960 kilometers. Equals, and we get our answer then of 1,985.48. Will you help me remember that? Okay. 1985, that was a good year. That's the year I matriculated. How scary is that?
That's when my
She's
sister
some
was
old,
born.
eh? Yes. Okay, and 48. You remember the 48. So that gives me a total now of 1985, and you had to remember the
48.
48. Now, folk, what I've got to do is I've got to add those two figures up. And that'll tell me how much that car's actually costing him for every kilometer that, or for his monthly expense. So all we've got to do to this figure is add 1275 plus 1275 equals, and we get an answer of 3260. 3260.48 cents. Okay. How much was he going to claim for that little 1.5? Do you remember from our previous question? Let's just have a look at it. He was going to actually claim an amount of, in fact, that spoke about the 2.3. Let's just have a look. 1.5 is going to be over here, 299.4 cents. Let's go back, 299.4 cents is what Rodney was going to claim per kilometer. How many kilometers did he do? He did 1,900 and, what was it, 60. Okay? I'm going to change it straight away to rands. So we're going to get rid of that little comma. And out comes our calculator. And we say, right, we've got 2.994 multiplied by 1960 equals. And we get an answer of 5,868. 5,868 and 24 cents. That's how much he's claiming, but in reality, it's only costing him that amount of money. I think Scheme B is a good scheme to be on. You can make money out of your boss, which is so cool, and you've covered all the expenses of your car.
How cool is that?
I think that's great. Okay. Right, let's get on to another subject now, which is also falls under finance. And so far this year, we haven't really put our teeth into this topic, and that's the whole topic of tax. Okay. Before we even discuss tax, I need to tell you the following. There are 3 types of salaries that we can refer to. Our first salary is our gross salary, right? So, AB, you at the moment are earning a salary. Would you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Okay. When you went for your interview, right? They said you are earning so much a month. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay. And you got excited about that because it was kind of nice.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I didn't get excited,
that
but
time.
as long as you're excited, that's great. Okay, so you getting, and let's just make up a figure, okay? Let's say you're getting 5,000 Rand a month, just for the sake of saying that. Okay, so you got 5,000. Did you get 5,000 Rand in your bank? You wouldn't have,
No.
eh? Because there are
Deductions.
deductions that come off. Horrible things, people. Okay. So what happens is you go off and you get a job. And straight away, your employer will say to you, hey, we got to take some money off you. We got to take some money off because we got to pay something called UIF, Unemployment Fund, right? And basically, unemployment fund is if one day you lose your job, you can still claim from the department. Say, you know, every month I contributed towards this fund. Now I need some money back. Okay, so it's a good thing to belong to, and I actually think it's legal. You have to do these things. All right. So your boss will say to you, we're taking that off. Your boss will say, you know, if you want to work in our company, you have to belong to medical aid. We're taking that amount of money off. Your boss will say to you, like, for example, if you're a teacher, you have to belong to some teacher company or something to prove you're a teacher, or SACE registration, or something weird. I don't know what I belong to. But all I know is every month they take money away from that. Okay. And eventually, you left with a funny, tiny amount of money. And that money has also included the tax that comes off your salary. And that amount of money that's left is called my net salary. Okay, so I've got my gross salary, the amount the boss says, hey, this is what we're paying you every month. And then I've got my net salary, the amount that actually goes into the bank. But in between those two salaries, I've got something called a taxable salary. Okay, so what is a taxable salary? Well, the government tries to encourage people to belong to a medical aid. And I'm going to really simplify this because tax can get very complicated. So I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible. So the government say, you know what, if this guy doesn't belong to a medical aid, he's going to go to a government hospital. And if he goes to a government hospital, the government have to pay that doctor. So we're going to encourage this guy to belong to a medical aid, because if he belongs to a medical aid, then the medical aid pay the doctor and the government don't have to pay him. So in order to encourage him, what we're going to say is if you pay medical aid, we're going to pretend you don't earn the full 5,000 a month. You only earn, let's say, 4,500 Rand a month, because the 500 you're putting towards medical aid, we'll pretend you're not earning that. Very nice of the taxman. Okay. The other thing the taxman says is this. When you reach the ripe old age of like 63 or 65, you become an old age pensioner, and the government have to give you a little bit of money to survive every month. However, if you put money aside every month, then you don't claim that pension or that government pension. And so the government is saving money. So they're saying, oi, we're going to try and encourage these people to have a pension scheme. So what we'll do is this. If you put 500 Rand away a month, we're going to pretend you don't earn that money. So remember now, you started with 5,000. We've taken 500 Rand off because you pay medical aid. We've taken 500 Rand off because of your pension. Cool? So the government are now saying, although he earns 5,000 Rand a month, we are going to pretend he only earns 4,000 Rand a month. Government is to try and encourage certain charities. Okay? So if you donate money to a charity organization, let's say the SPCA or some organization that is registered. You can't just give it to your sister and say, shame, she needs the money. Okay? If you donate money to an organization that's registered, the more people donate, the less the government have to give it. And so they're going to try and encourage you now to donate to charity. So they're going to say, right, you're giving 500 Rand a month to the SPCA. We're going to pretend you don't earn that 500 Rand. So we're going to pretend actually you only earn 3,500 Rand a month. And we're going to base your tax on that 3,500 Rand. So I'm earning a gross of 5,000. I'm earning a taxable salary of 3,500. The taxman then takes his part, and whatever's left over goes into my bank and is called a net salary. And normally that amount that goes into the bank's a very sad amount of money, okay, because you like, everyone's taken their part. You do the work and everyone just takes. It's quite scary, actually. Okay, but that's how it works. Now, in your matric, what we can ask you is, if this is your taxable salary, how much tax are you going to pay at the end of the year? And that's the exact question that came up in the 2013 paper. Let's have a look at this question behind me. Okay. It says here, Rodney's wife is 66 years old. Her taxable income for 2012 was 315,054. The amount of tax payable is calculated using the following table. And here they give us a wonderful tax table, and it looks oh so very complicated. Then it says taxpayers qualify for a primary rebate of 11,440 Rand and an additional rebate of 6,390 Rand if they are 65 years or older. The examiner is very nice, and he goes ahead and tells us what a rebate is. He says a rebate is an amount by which an individual's calculated tax is reduced. And then here comes the question, determine the amount of tax payable by Rodney's wife after the rebates have been deducted. Okay, so just quickly then, in a nutshell, guys, if you get a question like this, right, the process will always be the same, but the figures given could be different. Why? Because every single year, the taxman adjusts those figures. So we have to understand the process. This is something we can't learn off by heart and say, right, I've got to remember this figure and that figure and this figure, because the figures change all the time. And you don't know what year the examiner is going to question you on, if he questions you on it again this year. Okay? So you've got to understand the concept, and I will show you that concept straight after the break.
Awesome. And after the break, I'm going to be giving you some score updates in terms of the teams that we have. We've got Switzerland, we've got United States of America, we've got Argentina, and what else do we have?
France, Italy, Belgium. I don't know.
Belgium.
Belgium.
Thank you. Awesome. Well, after the break, I'll be telling you more about that. But keep your questions coming, because we'd love to answer your questions, guys. We'll check you out after the break. Welcome back, Mindsetters. Now, on a very sad note, I'm not happy.
Why are you not happy?
The Mindsetters don't want to win.
Why?
We've got an awesome prize. It's an Intel tablet, an awesome tablet. Do you know what is a tablet? Maybe they don't know a tablet.
Isn't that something you take if you've got a headache or something? No.
You see, that's the problem. That's where things go wrong. I'll share it on Facebook, guys, but I'm not impressed, guys. Let's get our friends to like these pictures and like our teams. But my team is leading on a good note, eh?
What
Argentina
team
is winning.
Argentina?
Yeah, we've got about 20 likes. And Switzerland, you only have got 3. 3. Only 3. Bro, what is 3 on 20?
Okay.
Right.
Obviously, I don't know what I'm talking about with soccer, but I know what I'm talking about with maths.
Let's do this.
Let's do maths. Right, folks. So we're going to look at tax tables. This can seem a little complicated, but it's actually straightforward. Here we're told that Rodney's wife, who's 66 years old. That's quite funny, because my brother's going to get married, and he's getting married to quite a youngish woman. I think she's about 35, 36. But yeah, we'll just pretend she's 66. Okay, so she earns an annual salary of 315,054. Now, folk, I want you to take note of something. The examiner could actually say, you know what? This person earns so much a month. All right? So they don't have to tell you the annual salary. They could tell you the monthly salary. If they tell you the monthly salary, you've got to take that monthly salary and multiply it by 12 to get the annual salary. Why do you have to do that? Because all these figures in my tax table are referring to the amount of money people earn every year, not every month. Okay, so let's say, for example, I could have worded this question: Rodney's wife earns 26,254 Rand 50, or her taxable salary is 26,254 Rand and 50 cents a month. Okay, and then you would have to take that amount and multiply it by 12. And when you multiply that by 12, you will get this figure of 315,054 cents. Now, the examiner here last year was kind of nice. He gave you the annual salary, so you didn't have to work about monthly or anything like that. You just worked straight from that table. Okay, so first thing, folk, when I look at this table, it looks complicated. There are just numbers everywhere. And you look at this and you say, oh my giddy aunt, where do I start? Well, the first place to start, number one, we start off by seeing what bracket or what tax bracket the person fits into. Now remember, this person is earning a salary of 315,000. Where would 315,000 come into? It would come into this tax bracket over here, wouldn't it? Between 250,001 Rand to 346,000 Rand. Okay? That's exactly where 315,000 Rand will fit into. Now that you know what tax bracket to look at, now we can forget about the tax bracket and we can look at those horrible figures on the right-hand side. Let's have a look at them. Here they are here. Okay, and I'm just going to highlight the whole lot of them. And it's not a bad thing to do this in the exam, because then your eyes aren't going to wander. They're going to focus on the figures that I have put in my little rectangle. Or like I say to my guys at school, get a highlighter. Highlight those things. If you highlight them, they're just going to stand out. Okay? Then my eyes aren't going to go wandering and I'm going to pick up the wrong figures. I'm going to pick up the exact figures I need to. And the exact figure says this, that anyone within this tax bracket has got to pay an amount. Everybody in that tax bracket pays an amount of 51,300 Rand. So before you even begin, 51,300 Rand has to be paid. But that's not all. Because if that was all, that would be the end of that whole garbage set of numbers. It would just say 51,300. But then it goes on to say plus. And that's always a catch, isn't it, when it's plus? Because you know there's a little bit more you're going to have to pay. All right. And I hate it when people do that. I hate it when they do that. When people say to you, this is all it's going to cost, you say, well, fantastic. All right. Wow. So the other day we were looking at a little advert and it said, trip to Disney World. Okay, only 9,000 Rand. I thought, this is freaking wonderful. I'm going to go to Disneyland. All right, I've got to save up 3 or 4 years, but then I'm going to go off to Disneyland. So I phoned the travel company. How's it? Want to go to Disneyland? They said, that's fantastic. Okay, how are you getting there? I said, what do you mean, how am I getting there? They said, how are you getting there? I said, does this price not include the airfare? Oh, no, they said it doesn't include the airfare. That's another 13,500 Rand. Ka-ching. Okay, so I said, oh, that's a bit awkward. Okay, fine. All right, we can do this. We can go to Disneyland. Right, this is cool. Okay, and they said, do you want to go into Disneyland? I said, what do you mean, do I want to go in? Of course I want to go. Does this? No, this price doesn't include that, they said. It just includes the accommodation. If you want to go into Disneyland, you got to pay a little bit extra. I'm like, yeesh, how much extra? They said another 10,500 Rand a person. I said, yes, like, okay. All right, let's do this. Now I'm thinking this is going to take 20 years of saving. But we can do this, right? And then they said, how are you getting from the airport to Disney World? I said, what do you mean? They said, this price doesn't include that, okay? Suddenly, from 9,999, we had a price of nearly 40,000 Rand. How does that happen? I hate it when people do that to you, okay? So, whenever there's a little cross, you know there's a trick. I don't know how I got onto that. I got totally sidetracked from one subject to the other one. But anyhow, So there's a plus here, which means there's more we're going to pay. How much more are we going to pay, folks? We are going to pay 30% of the amount above 250,000 Rand. Now, that can be a little bit confusing for some people because that English terminology is kind of tough. But what it's saying is if you earn up to 250,000, you're going to pay 51,300 Rand. That's what the table said. But for every Rand more than 250,000, we're going to charge you 30% is going to go to the tax man. In other words, for every Rand I earn more than 250,000 Rand, the tax man's taking 30 cents. So every Rand I earn, I'm only going to take 70 cents home. The tax man takes 30 cents. That's a lot,
That's
hey?
a lot.
It is, hey? But you know what? The government need this money, okay? Patch up all the holes in the road and
Build schools.
build schools, pay teachers. What else do we do with it? All kinds of things. Run the whole country
pay
with
for
it, pal.
education, everything,
Okay,
yeah.
so let's move on. So how do I work out how much more money I earn than 250,000? Well, if I'm earning 315,000, what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say plus I've got to pay 30% times the amount above 250. So I'm going to say 315,000 Rand and 54 cents minus my 250,000 Rand. Okay? Let's do it. Equals 51,300 Rand plus 30% of every Rand above 250,000. Let's do that on our calculator. So we've said we are earning 315,000, or Rodney's 65-year-old or 66-year-old wife is, minus 250,000 equals, and we get an amount of 65,054 Rand. 65,000 and what was that? 64 Rand, hey? Yeah, 54 Rand. And 54 Rand. So now we got to find 30% of that amount of money. So we take that amount of money and say times 30%. 30% equals, and we get an amount of 19,516 Rand and 20 cents. I'm not going to remember that. You're going to have to help me, Ebron.
Okay.
19,516, 20 cents. Okay, so 19,516 and 20.
cents.
Okay, and to that we are adding 51,300 Rand. So again, out comes the calculator, and we say plus 51,300 Rand, and we get our amount here of 70,816, 70,816, and how many cents? 20 cents and 20 cents. Sure, that's a lot of tax to pay. But here's the good news. The good news, folk, is this, that the tax man says, you know what? That's a lot of money to give me, and I don't want it. Don't want all that money, so I'm going to say, give you some back. Okay? I'm going to give you a rebate. In other words, I'm going to take that 70,000 and deduct an amount of money. And this is what he says we're going to deduct. He says a primary rebate of 11,440 Rand. In other words, everyone, no matter who you are, we're going to take off 11,440 Rand. But there's an added bonus. If you're an old person, okay, like 65 and more, they're going to give us some more money off. And they say that. They say an additional rebate of 6,390 Rand if they're 65 years or older. 6,390. So minus 6,390. And why are we subtracting that? Because Rodney's old wife is 66 years old. So she qualifies for that extra little bit of money. All right. So now all we got to do is push the buttons in our calculator and get an answer. And that's exactly what I'm going to do over here. So we're going to say, right, that's our amount. We're going to subtract, let me just move our calculator over here, 11,440 Rand minus a further amount of 6,390 Rand equals, and the amount of tax that person's paying is 52,986. 52,986 Rand and 20 cents. That's the amount of tax that comes off every single year. Okay, now this question doesn't ask us what is this person's monthly tax. It just says calculate the tax. So we're going to presume it's the annual tax. But it's kind of naughty of the examiner. They should have actually said to us, you know what, calculate the annual tax or calculate the monthly tax. Because if that was monthly, what would we have to do with that amount? Divide it by 12. Okay, I've got 2 minutes. There's one more thing in tax I want to do very quickly, even though it's not part of this question. Let's say I earn an amount, okay, right, of 2,000 Rand a month, okay? Why? I'm a student, I don't have a lot of money, I'm busy studying, and all I do is I go and I work in a restaurant 3 times a week, or 2 times a week, or 4 times a week, whatever it is, and I'm being given a monthly salary of 2,000 Rand every single month. Okay? Now, with that 2,000 Rand, I'm going to multiply it now by 12 to see what I earn in a year. And that's going to be 24,000 Rand I earn in the year. Now, if I earn that in a year, when I look at my tax, it says this. Hey, if you earn less than 116,000, you just got to pay 18%. So I'm going to take that amount and multiply it by 18% to see how much tax I have to pay. So we're going to take 24,000, multiply it by 18%, and I get an answer of 4,320. 4,320 Rand is the tax I have to pay every year. But the great news is I get a rebate. And my rebate is 11,000. So we subtract 11,000. And folks, that means I'm paying no tax at all. How wonderful and how great is that? So, and I really rushed that, but we've got 30 seconds and I think we did it.
Yeah, we did it. Thank you so much, Peter.
It's been great being here, guys. And
Awesome.
listen, everything of the best while you study. You really just got to give it your all. 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. By 10 o'clock, you're done 4 hours.
Awesome, and at that 10 o'clock, we are beginning our winter school day 2 tomorrow up until 6 o'clock. So guys, for more details, go to land.mindset.co.za. We love you and appreciate you. From me, Abram, keep on believing in yourself, because when you stop believing in yourself, no one will ever believe in you. We love you. Peace.